If you're scrolling through endless listings trying to decide whether a pre-built gaming desktop is worth the gamble, I get it. You've probably already seen a few glossy videos that promise 4K frame rates and instant load times, but you also know the pain of spending a good chunk of money only to find the machine can't keep up with the games you actually want to play. The biggest fear is ending up with a box that looks great on your desk but leaves you tweaking settings just to get a playable frame rate. That's why I'm digging into the HP OmniDesk desktop PC with an AMD Ryzen 78700G, 32GB of RAM, a 1TB SSD, and an RTX 3050. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about what this rig actually brings to a typical gamer setup. The Ryzen 78700G is a fairly recent APU that blends 8 cores with decent integrated graphics, but HP pairs it with a dedicated RTX 3050. The combination means you're not relying on the integrated graphics for anything beyond casual titles. You have a real GPU that can push 1080p gaming at medium to high settings in most modern releases. The 32GB of RAM is more than enough for multitasking. Think streaming while you game, having Discord, Chrome, and a background rendering task all alive without a hiccup. Now, the first practical question. Does this machine sit comfortably in a home office or a living room entertainment space? HP's modern wood finish is actually a warm, grayish wood veneer that hides the typical plastic chassis look. In real-world testing, the finish holds up well to sunlight and doesn't show fingerprints as aggressively as a high-gloss surface would. The design also means you can blend the PC into a bookshelf or a media console without it screaming computer. For people who care about aesthetics as much as performance, that's a point in its favor. Next up, storage. A 1TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD is a serious upgrade over the older SATA drives you see in many budget builds. In practice, it translates to game load times that feel instantly snapper. Launching a title like Elden Ring takes under a minute, and level streaming is virtually seamless. The only downside is that there's no room for a second drive without opening the case, which might be a problem if you keep a large library of games or want an additional HDD for media storage. Connectivity is where the OmniDesk shows its modern side. It comes equipped with Wi-Fi 6 and a solid Ethernet port, so you can expect stable online performance even when you're in a crowded household with multiple devices streaming. There are also enough USB-C and USB-A ports to plug in a headset, a controller, and a webcam without needing a hub. In a real-world scenario, I set it up with a 144Hz monitor, a mechanical keyboard, and a VR headset, and everything was recognized instantly. No driver hunting, just plug and play. One common hesitation for pre-built PCs is upgradability. The OmniDesk's case isn't the most spacious, but you can access the internals without too much trouble. The RTX 3050 sits in a standard PCI X16 slot, so swapping it for a higher tier card later is possible, though you'll need to consider your power supply. HP ships this model with a 550W PSU, which is enough for the current components, but if you upgrade to a RTX 3060 or beyond, you'll be pushing the limits. In short, if you plan to future-proof aggressively, you might outgrow the power supply sooner rather than later. Heat management is another practical concern. The wood finish is a non-metal chassis, so HP uses a decent amount of airflow through front and rear vents. In my usage, the system stayed around 70°C under full load, which is warm but not alarming. The fans are a bit louder than a custom water-cooled build, but they're not obnoxiously loud during a session of Fortnite or Valorant Star. If you're a nighttime gamer sensitive to fan noise, you might want to add a modest fan curve tweak or a noise dampening mat under the unit. Now, who should actually consider buying this machine? If you're a casual to mid-range gamer who wants a sleek desktop that can handle modern titles at 1080p without spending a fortune on separate components, the OmniDesk hits a sweet spot. It's also a solid choice for a home office that needs a workhorse for productivity tasks, streaming, and occasional gaming. The integrated Windows 11 experience with Microsoft Copilot can help automate routine tasks, which is a nice bonus if you're already in the Microsoft ecosystem. On the flip side, if you're hunting for 4K performance, high-refresh competitive gaming, or you want a system that can push a high-end RTX 3070 or better, this is probably not the best entry point. The 550W PSU will become a bottleneck quickly, and you'll still be limited by the RTX 3050's capabilities. Likewise, power users who plan to run multiple VMs, heavy video editing, or AI workloads might find the CPU, while capable, lacks the extra cores that newer Ryzen 9 or Threadripper CPUs provide. Value is where the OmniDesk is most interesting. Its headline specs: Ryzen 7, 32GB RAM, 1TB SSD, RTX 3050 look more